Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of General Geekery. I am Brian, and with me, as always, is JD.
Hello.
And this is a continuation of several previous episodes of General Geekery that we've done in the past. Our first one we did in 2020, and we lost that episode. Um, don't know what happened to it, but the premise was when Classified Line came out that each of us did a list of the top 10 figures that we would like to see in the classified list. And then we revisited that last year and to see which figures got made, which ones didn't, and did a new list. At the end of that episode, we said, you know what, we should do this again in a couple of years. And JD and I were talking, we've got a bunch of like year-end content stuff planned for General Geekery. And we're like, you know what, let's throw it in right now. Let's do it right now because we both have lists together.
Some of our lists have changed because of releases. Some of our lists have changed just because we're like,
I want
you
to see
know,
this figure.
I want to see
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Uh,
And our first lists were sort of tentative because there was a lot of trepidation with Classified when it first launched. Like that first 6 months, yeah, there were some complaints about different things in the line, but there was still a lot of uncertainty about how will this line do. Well, it
exactly.
turns out in the subsequent years, it kicked all kinds of ass. It is still apparently kicking all kinds of ass sales wise. So this line isn't going anywhere anytime soon.
I don't think it
They're
is.
just ramping up the number of characters that they're getting done and releases they're doing. So I think this could easily be a yearly thing now.
I think
So
it probably will be a yearly thing now. Because one of the things we talked about in the last episode was the fabled Hasbro's Wave 4 syndrome, where they get into a fourth wave of stuff and it just they hit a wall, and you see that in in any number of toy lines: Captain America, Thor, Iron Man 2. Um, Several different GI Joe lines have had that problem where they get into like the direct to consumer line that never made it to Wave 4, or it did make it to Wave 4, but it was all really hard to get and it never got past that. Um, Pursuit of Cobra, that hit a Wave 4 syndrome. So in 2020 we're like, is this going to hit the Wave 4 syndrome and it's going to stall out and peter out? We're never going to see some of these characters. And then it progressed to the point where they're doing not only esoteric characters that we never thought we would see in this line, but they're doing original characters that have appeared in no other toy form. And we're
I
like,
would very much like if they would continue that or possibly up the number of new characters they're offering.
absolutely.
I like to see what they're going to come up with, or
So
crazy new Viper classes that may or may not make top 10 acquisitions lists for us later in this year.
yeah.
Um,
So based off of
so
that, we have a lot of the stuff, a lot of the stuff that both JD and I wanted to see that's near and dear to our hearts, we never put on a list because we never thought we would ever see it. But the last couple of years have shown us that it really seems like nothing is off the table. So
yeah,
we,
my 2020 list was half characters that I thought seemed obvious as long as classified survived, and then a couple of them were some outlandish. I'd love to see it, but it's probably not going to happen. Most of those now seem way more realistic than they did last year. So
yeah,
last year we recapped the 2020 list, which we'll do again,
yes.
and then we went off with our 2024 list, and we'll just see what carries over and what's been substituted.
Uh, so on that note, um, I did not carry anything over this year.
Uh, I have a couple that I may change as we're going through this because I was a little wishy washy on a couple. Um, Before that, we do there was a convention this week in Brazil, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
There was a Hasbro panel there where and they showed off the Arctic Hiss and the Snowcat, I guess, in the display area. But on the panel, they did uh they did a name only reveal of Deep Six with no mention of the shark. So my reaction on the full force post about it on Facebook was, "Yay, Deep Six without the stupid shark." And I know that's blasphemy for so many of you people, but
That's like, especially me. I love that vehicle. I think it's,
yeah, I'm not. I mean,
I love the
is
content.
it possible they're going to do Deep Six as as a release on its own? Yeah, and in the art, it was the version one art, so I'm not really
Okay.
surprised. Is it possible they will? Sure, they've done a few vehicle drivers without making classified vehicles like
Copperhead's a
Copperhead,
big one.
but I don't know that. I don't know because the shark is not unreasonable for the classified line.
Okay.
So, but it's also unreasonably stupid in the grand scheme of things.
You're
So,
wrong, but that's okay.
if 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 they really are going to do Deep Six in the diving suit, finally with articulation, which look at what they've done with shit like the snake armor that I hated in the initial line, like Deep Six, crap. But dude, they did so much with so many of these releases. I really think if they're just gonna do the armored diving suit from version one without the shark, it's I I'll buy the shit out of that.
Oh yeah, no,
That
I
they could do
yeah,
they would there's so much they could do with the engineering of that robo suit. Like it could be like a deluxe size figure, or it's just a much an even bulkier suit
yeah.
if that's what their plan is. I don't
That's
know.
what I'm hoping.
Or they've just revealed the name to announce the shark later. Who knows? These name only
I
reveals
also
are
think that
sometimes,
yeah,
yeah, the name only reveals they often have zero context, so you can kind of guess. I don't know that they've done one that was actually a vehicle driver that we found out later. Doesn't mean they won't.
yeah.
So, but yeah, that was just announced
All right.
yesterday.
So
No other new information came out of there, but I was wondering if they do a name only reveal, and that's another figure out of '84. I think they're just about done with 1984 now
getting close if
for
they're
the
not.
classified line.
All right. So without further ado, I'm going to kind of for brevity, otherwise this would be a 3 hour episode. I'm just going to run through the 2020 lists real quick, both of our 2020 lists, run through both of the 2024 lists, and then we're going to each do an updated list for this year. And as per usual, neither one of us know what's on the other's list. So let me pull it up here real quick. JD's original list in 2020 was Serpentor, Lady J, Spirit, Zartan, Grunt, Metalhead, Blackout, Lamprey, Ripit, and Super Trooper. Of those, Serpentor got made. Lady J's had several figures, has another one coming. Spirit got made. Zartan's had 4 figures now. Grunt got made. Metalhead got made. We're still waiting on a Blackout, Lamprey. Rip It, I'm surprised still hasn't gotten made, and Super Trooper has not gotten made. My original list, again, we didn't know what was on each other's list. Blackout was on my list as well. The Night Viper, the Eel, Alley Viper, Snow Serpent, Major Blood, Wraith, Hit and Run, Torpedo, and Range Viper. As of our last episode, some of those uh, we did not know they were going to get made, but we do now. The Night Viper's getting made and Hit and Run is getting made. Uh,
yeah, you've pre-ordered both of them. I pre-ordered the Night Viper, and they're this is usually the time where they don't really announce much, but in a couple of months they'll start announcing stuff again, and some of this stuff might we might what's on our wish list right now, we could be just a few months from finding out that half the list is already in the pipeline. We don't know.
yeah,
Hasbro surprises us a lot.
yeah, which really would be interesting. The ones on my initial list that have not gotten made yet so far is just Wraith. Everybody else has either been made or been announced. In fact, the Range Vipers had essentially three different figures because there was the Range Viper, and then they did one with the Hiss Fire Team, and then the Grim Viper is just to me is just a Range Viper repaint. The 2024 list, JD's list was Flash, Flak Viper, Rip It Again, Fast Draw, Slice and Dice, which is going to count as one figure. Otherwise, JD has 11 figures. Hardball, Don Moreno Snake Eyes, the 2002 Torpedo, and Venomous Maximus. Of those, I think the biggest surprise for me that hasn't gotten made, but you have to know it's coming, and we talked about that on last year's episode, was Flash. I mean, the equipment already exists for him, and
They've now done 13. No, they've done 11 of the original 13 Joe
yeah,
releases. Um, so the only ones left are Grand Slam and Flash.
yes,
I don't know if they're gonna do a 2-pack or separate releases or what, but I'm really kind of shocked that Steeler and Short Fuse, who incidentally were in a 2-pack, which is why I wonder if the last two will be in a 2-pack. I thought for sure Flash would get announced before either of them were. I really thought Short Fuse and Steeler might be the last of the original 13 that we got in the classified line. So I'm a little shocked about Flash.
yeah, as am I. Just and my reasoning is just the fact that the equipment came with the Dragonfly HasLab. So I was like, this is just a matter of time, but apparently not. And as a side note, I predicted the Slice and Dice 2-pack, and cool.
I, I was elated. Last year I said it'll probably happen, but it might be a while. And then 6 months later, they surprised the shit out of us with the announcement. And then 2 months after that, I had them in hand. I mean,
Yeah,
holy shit, you
yeah.
know?
My list for last year was the Night Viper carried over, just simply because that is one of my always ties for my top favorite GI Joe figure of all time. So and it hadn't been announced yet, so I was like, I fucking want this figure. Um, the Toxo Viper, and I said that I'd be happy with either version one or version two. Uh, would love to have both. I think that would be an awesome 2-pack. Um, Heat Viper was on my list. Fast Draw was on my list, as was JD's. The Iron Grenadier Target, Annihilator, and Undertow were the next three on mine, followed by Desert Scorpion, which, like JD mentioned, 6 months later, here it is in hand. It's a fantastic figure. I absolutely love it.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
Headhunter Stormtrooper and Ghost Bear were rounded off my list for 2024. And since I went first in 2024, JD is going to go first this year with
Oh,
his first
okay.
pick for 2025.
Um, Cobra Flak Viper.
Yeah,
I I I think it was on my list last year.
it was.
We talked about it.
Yeah,
I That's one of my carryovers from last year because we've seen some of the later Cobras in the line now. Now I'm like,
it's gotta.
I
It's
don't
got
want to speak too soon, but I think it's probably only a matter of time before we see a Flak Viper. It might be a little while, but I'm just as excited and hopeful for what they'll do with that figure
yeah.
as what they've, you know, based on their track record so far.
And I am still of the theory that they are at least planning to do a Flaming Moth update in classified, and that and the Ice Viper are the only figures that have not gotten made from those figures. So I I for me, I absolutely love Flak Viper. There's three different versions, and then a fourth using that mold called a nullifier. Um, that I absolutely love that figure. It is one of my favorite. Uh I've done two customs and one female Flak Viper custom. And
And
so
all
I
four versions of Black Viper, the original, all worked.
yeah,
We've never gotten an update. So
no,
here's crossing the fingers.
yeah, I would absolutely love to see a Flak Viper, just for the same reasons that we said last year, is that what they've done with updated figures. I really think they could knock a Flak Viper out of the park as a deluxe figure. Uh,
Fuck yeah.
so my first figure for the list, uh, so JD and I split the comic, or not, the cartoon homage diver pack, the GI Joe and Cobra diver pack. JD kept from the Mass Device cartoon. JD kept the GI Joe diver, and I got the Cobra diver. Um, you know what I really want to go with it? I want Dive Gear Baroness.
Yeah. That
Very,
would be great.
very prominent part of that episode. Jamie Tyndall has done a really nice piece of art um, with the Baroness, not quite in dive gear, but kinda with a group of eels, and it's one of my favorite GI Joe piece art pieces ever. And I've done a custom
It's
of that, so I would really like to see the dive gear Baroness from the cartoon. They did a version of her in dive gear in the 25th anniversary line, and it was a horrible figure. It was
yeah, it was kind of a lazy repaint of an earlier Scarlet figure. So it achieved the look
yes,
without being a good figure, but at least it was a different version of the Baroness they never made a toy of. But
yeah,
now I really think with how cool the current Baroness, like the Crimson Baroness was great. And from all the pictures I've seen, that the pilot Baroness that comes with that Rattler is a fucking dynamite figure. And
absolutely.
so a Cobra diving gear Baroness, hopefully maybe in the red again,
Yes,
that would
absolutely.
just that would be it would be a work of art.
Yeah. I think they really could knock it out of the park. I would like to see detailed sculpting on it instead of just like a plain wetsuit would be nice, but the female buck that they're using has some texture. The Cobra female buck that they're using has some texture to it, and I kind of like that. So I think they
Oh,
really,
that would be cool.
yeah, I really think they could do some cool stuff with that. So that's my first pick is Dive Gear Baroness.
Um, my second pick is is uh it's the other Cobra specialty Viper on my list, the Data Viper.
Ooh. Oh
The
man.
Cobra Data Viper was an obscure release
Yeah.
from very late in the GI Joe Retaliation line. They weren't obviously in the GI Joe Retaliation movie,
Yeah.
but they were clearly a very well engineered and very accessory heavy figure that Hasbro was already working on. So they put it out in the Retaliation line, but this thing had all kinds of removable gear. When when all the armor and all the tech and all the tech the doodads and shit were attached to this thing, it looked like a radar dish that like a cyborg radar dish of some sort that with the human form. I don't they had this elaborate helmet, these awesome like data nodes or something on a backpack. They had these little handheld accessories that were a pain in the ass to use, but holy shit, they accomplished so much. Looking at the tech gear that mainframe came with, and some of the other little tech doodads that they've given us with like the Techno Viper and shit, dude, I'd love to see what they would do with an updated version of the Data Viper. Maybe not so soon in the line, but kind of hoping that it's somebody at that somebody at Hasbro was a big fan of that, so they can give us an update of it.
I think somebody at Hasbro was a big fan of that because originally that figure had gotten canceled because of how the production cost was going to be so big because of all the accessories because it came with it came with a big antenna, it came with the radar dish, it came with the like VR headset, it came with the like adjustable arm controls that JD was mentioning, and it came with a drone, and there was two weapons that attached to the drone. I mean, it was very, very equipment heavy. Um, and they had initially canceled that, saying the it was cost prohibitive. And then a couple years later, they're like, just kidding, here it is, enjoy. And people bought the
You know
shit.
what's funny? I don't remember that. Or this might
I
be new information somehow, or way repressed in my memory because I don't remember it being a canceled figure. That makes me even happier that it came out, and makes me even more hopeful that they'll pay off that release of a canceled figure in the past and just give us a brand new version of it.
and it was the same thing with the Jungle Viper. People really wanted that,
Oh
and
yes.
that they canceled it, saying it was too cost prohibitive, and it never. Then they like, nah, just kidding. Here it is. It came out in the Pursuit of Cobra line,
What a
and
fucking cool figure that was too.
it was amazing. I bought a shitload of those because they were like, yeah, it's canceled. No, just kidding. Here it is. So I'm like, okay, I will buy. I bought like 10 or 12 of those things. I don't know what happened to them, but I think I still have one on the card somewhere. And then I used a bunch for
Some
custom.
of them got customized.
Yeah. So, and some of them ended up as failed customs, um, but yeah, that was I would absolutely love to see a classified data viper. And of course, you know, it's me. It would not be a list if I didn't have a specialty viper on my list, um, or more than one. But sorry, my work text is going off. Um, yeah, I don't want to talk about it right now. So, um, my next one on my list is the Astro Viper.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I had Target on my
I
list
would
last year, and I'm like, you know what? If they did a deluxe version of the Astro Viper, I think that would be fantastic. You could just go crazy with the backpack because it's based off of the 1980s MMU from NASA, but you could update it in any way, shape, or form that you saw fit. The the gray and red with the gold accents is a fantastic color scheme. You could do a ton of just like sky's the limit with something like that.
oh yeah.
You could just make a completely awesome new version of the Astro Viper, which is another one that never really got an update. There was a recolored version of it in the Battle Core line, and then there was a repaint of it called the Shadow Viper that came out a few years after that, but it's never gotten like a version two, or I'm sorry, an updated sculpt. There is a version two.
Yeah, we never saw it in another line. We've never it's it was a memorable figure because of the year it came out, but it's kind of one that's been overlooked in the years since.
Yeah.
If they hadn't have brought it out of mothballs for the Star Brigade line in '93, that figure may have fallen into obscurity altogether.
Yeah.
So a repaint kept it alive for a while, but since then, you're right, nothing's been done with it. Would be interesting to see what Classified would do with the space
Yeah.
Cobra.
And I did a female version of that figure a number of years ago. It was one of my more popular customs. So there is a fan base for it.
Oh yeah.
So
Um,
I would love to see Astro Viper in the classified line.
I was wrong. I do have one other specialty Viper, and I'm just gonna put it since I'm in a row. The Sand Viper from the Joe versus Cobra line.
Uh,
I don't really care what color scheme they do it in, although I would imagine they'd probably do the version one
Dude,
gray and beige. But dude, everything about that figure, that super detailed armor, he was
yeah,
covered from head to toe, um, including some kind of lenses over his eyes. Like there was no the way they've kind of done these modified looking Cobra Troopers in the classified line, dude, the Sand Viper's right in their wheelhouse.
yeah,
Super elaborate armor, uh, uh, completely. Um, it looks ready to kick some ass, and that is exactly what Hasbro has done so well with classified is making great figures that were already cool somehow more imposing, like they did with the aforementioned Desert Scorpion.
yeah.
Not only did they do everything with that release, I was hoping they would. When Brian had it on his wish list last year, it it reinforced why uh, Hasbro, when they're on their game, they really fire on all cylinders.
Yes.
And the Sand Viper would be a fucking awesome. That would be one that I think I would probably buy two of.
And the fantastic thing about that, and I don't say this very often, and I'll probably burn in hell for saying it, is they repainted that a number of times, and each and every one of those repaints was a fantastic figure.
Yeah, they didn't make any. There were no listen fun tripwire style repaints there. No, they were all good. There was a black and crimson one, or like real like burgundy colored. There was a beautiful like cobalt blue and gray version. There was one with reversed gray and tan, and oh, fucking cool. They had the Kevlar, which would be nice with the NVGs on it.
Yeah,
I'd love to see an update of the first figure in the new sculpt line that came with the G36 was the Sand Viper, I
yeah.
think. And I was kind of thought of that as their signature weapon. Dude, even if Hasbro doesn't do a good one, I have one from Gridiron
I
Studios
was gonna
because
say Gridiron does.
yeah, I love that rifle. I had to order one. Just in case they ever give us a Sand Viper. I'm really hoping here.
And
So
I another figure that I did a female custom of this year or last year,
yeah.
and it really came out well. And yeah, I would love to see a Sand Viper in. Yeah, that is a fantastic, fantastic pick. Um, Next one on my list, again, Specialty Viper. This one was a personal favorite as a kid, having grown up in Colorado. I had all the Arctic guys, and I remember seeing the back card art the first time that I saw Alpine, and I'm like, I have to have that figure. I don't care if I don't get any other figures this year. I have to have Alpine, and absolutely love that figure to death. I need his nemesis. I need a Rock Viper.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not and I'm not talking about the one. So Pursuit of Cobra pretty much hands down is my favorite line of GI Joe figures because of the reimagination and just the excellent quality in which they did that with. The one exception to that is the Rock Viper, and it is a piece of shit figure. I absolutely hate that version. I've done a female version of that figure. I don't know that I ever did a male version of that figure, but I did a female Rock Viper that came out fantastic. I would love to see a classified version of the Rock Viper with just a fantastic loadout of climbing gear and the
Um,
weapons that he came with originally.
Give us all the great climbing gear that we didn't get with Alpine. And
Yeah.
we only got a little bit with hit and run. Not crazy about that gear loadout either, but maybe do better mountain climbing gear with Rock Viper. Give us new armor. Give us new. Don't recolor a bunch of old shit in the Rock Viper colors and call it done, because that's what they did in the pursuit of with the
Yes.
pursuit of Cobra Rock Viper.
And it
They
did
didn't
not
do
work.
any new sculpting. They put no effort into it. I think classified they would do. They'd certainly give us a new helmet, the distinctive sort of geometric helmet. I know they'd give us an accurate version of that, but if they could really give us like the great detailing and and actually do the camo they did originally, let's not fuck it up with
Yes.
some new pattern.
Yep.
Dude, that would be nice.
Right.
Uh,
I think it would be it would not be too hard. I don't think it's a big ask, and I think it has the potential to just be phenomenal whether they do it more homage towards the original one or they try and do an update. As long as they don't do what they did with Pursuit of Cobra, like you mentioned, and just repurpose parts because that did not work.
no.
I
Mm-mm.
have not had my heart broken with a toy like I have because they had name only announced that Rock Viper during the Pursuit of Cobra line, and I'm like, I cannot fucking wait for that figure. I will buy a shit ton of those. I will that I ooh, I cannot wait to see what they did. Then I saw what they did, and I'm like, fuck you guys. That is garbage.
Yeah, because he did a bunch of great shit. Like, uh, there was there was the Iron Grenadier that was real elaborate. There was the Jungle Viper that we mentioned before, but it had all this cool like movable cover stuff, like metal cover. It was fucking amazing. They set this huge precedent for great detailed figures and cool reimaginings and awesome sculpts and gear and shit for the Pursuit of Cobra line. Then right at the end of Pursuit of Cobra, they did some half-ass stuff, and the Rock Viper was just an unfortunate victim of no effort at all. There was none. That figure deserves redemption in the classified line.
No,
God
I'm
damn
not
it.
actually sure if I have one in my collection.
It's that shitty.
Yeah, I will have to go back and look. I'm not actually, I have, and I've said this, I have like almost every specialty Viper ever made. I am actually not sure if I have the Pursuit of Cobra Rock Viper in my collection. I'm gonna have to go look
Well,
at that because
and
that's
if you
how much
don't,
I did it.
and if you don't, how eager are you to fill that hole on the line, considering how suck ass that figure is?
As a completist, I will have to have, and it shouldn't be too expensive, but I am not actually sure I have that figure in my collection right now.
That's funny.
I will have to look after this show. So there you go. All right, JD, your next pick.
My first Joe on this list, um, Stalker, the Tundra Ranger.
Ooh,
Give us his kayak. Give
yeah.
us the machine guns and the weaponry. Give us a survival backpack, which the original didn't have and didn't need. But give us like a mask, with the just update the shit out of it. Don't use that color scheme. That figure is such a great. The Real American Hero line was always good about updating earlier characters later in the line. Like they always pretty
Funny you
consistently
should
did
say
it,
that. It's
but
funny you should
they
say that.
didn't.
I've got one of those on my list this year.
Well, good. Yeah, because they had a run there where some of these updates were fucking awesome. And one of them, Stalker version 2, like Stalker waited a long time to get an update in the
Yeah.
line. But when he did, and he came out as the Tundra Ranger, that is one of those figures that I don't think I've ever heard in online circles, real conversations I've had with people. That is one of those figures that nobody ever criticizes because it was really just that good.
It
And I would really like to see a deluxe classified set with the boat, with some gear, with survival stuff, maybe with a fucking pet. I don't know. I don't give a shit. I really like what they did. I really like the classified version of Stalker and the retro repaint. I'd really love to see them do the Tundra Ranger version.
yeah, no, that's a fantastic idea. I would wholeheartedly support that. I did. a big surprise. I did a custom of that figure a couple of years ago. Uh,
Did
and I it was one of my first. I Stalker is not one that I touch very frequently, just because of how much I revere him from the comics early on, because he was a lot of times the de facto leader, especially on away missions. He was the de facto leader of GI Joe quite frequently in the early comic books, and I just love that character to death. And they did a really nice. Pursuit of Cobra had a Stalker figure that was phenomenal.
Stalker's one of those characters that in the last 40 years, Hasbro has gone back and updated in numerous iterations. And
Some
it's
work,
not very
some
often
did
they
not.
fuck it up either. He's usually pretty good, but
Yes.
none of them were as cool as that Tundra Ranger
Yeah.
update. And just the idea of seeing that, like, add that to the setup that they have with their little snowcat and the bivouac and all that.
Yes.
Let's add the Stalker's Tundra canoe to those dios. Just it would fit, it would fit perfectly. I want to see that in classified line at some point.
I do too, and I'm glad. In retrospect, I'm glad they did not have that as one of the tiers for the HasLab Snowcat, because that would have made it really hard to pass on that.
Oh, I never even considered that until I just said what I said, but I hadn't considered him as part. I'm glad they didn't do that too in retrospect.
Yeah,
I mean,
because
as it is, I'm going to have to go buy that Lady J off the secondary market. I'm glad I don't have to buy Stalker off the secondary market too.
yeah, because
Um,
I would the Stalker would have been made it very hard for me to pass that up. So ooh, yeah. Yeah, whereas yeah, the Stalker, I would pre-order that in a heartbeat, and I would probably pre-order a second one for a custom.
yeah, yeah, would be good. Can't wait to see it someday. Hopefully, it happens.
Yeah. Um, Surprisingly enough, my list is pretty evenly divided between Joe and Cobra this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I know that's like anybody that knows me, it's like, you
Yeah,
know,
look, Arthur. Yeah, you can see where we usually fall with our alignments on things, but
uh yeah, I've got I've got that Crimson Guard uniform up in my closet upstairs. I act like an upstanding member of the community, but I go to all the meetings at regularly. I'm a member of Cobra, so my
just not one of the Fred series. Thank God. Um,
my first GI Joe pick, uh, after seeing the fantastic job they did with Leatherneck, I think that Buck would work well for Repeater.
ooh, yeah.
Repeater was one of is probably my favorite figure from that year for the Joes. I absolutely He had the card art was like a spitting image of a Pulp Fiction character, um, named Mac Bolan, which was a series of books that I read when I was in elementary school and junior high. That initially he fought the mob, and then they reimagined the character to fight terrorists. And the
I don't know this character. This is
no,
new
I mean
information.
this is like early 80s, like late 70s, early 80s like character. So it was Mac Bolan, Phoenix Force, and Able Team. If
Wow.
anybody remembers those books, say something in the comments below, and you'll just kind of give away how old you are. Um,
Yeah, I don't know these books. I'm curious about it now. Like I want to see some art for the books or something. I'm just
yeah,
curious what this guy looks like.
but the
I do
card
like
art,
those faction names though. That's pretty cool.
yeah. So the card art, I mean, was almost a spitting image of the art they were using at the time for Mac Bolan. So I really was drawn to that character, that and the fact it was fairly realistic, military looking, and combined with the aliens style um style weapon that I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen an announcement for Repeater already.
All right, sorry.
All right, so Repeater, I'm I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen one, but and as much as I don't like to push repaints, man, I think the Leatherneck is a good place to start with that.
I think so too. As long as he's got his steady cam machine gun,
Yeah.
dude, I would buy. I would buy it. I would buy it. If they break down and give him some common infantry weapon like an M249 squad automatic weapon like the club did for their releases, no dice. Sorry.
What about Blow?
Repeater is one of those characters where the figure's very memorable, but I think a lot of that had to do with he was
Hey,
another steady. Oh, hi, Alice. Hi,
she,
puppy.
she heard you
Oh,
finally.
um,
Alice always comes down when she hears JD. So
um, but yeah, Repeater, he was another heavy artillery guy in the Joe team, but nobody else carried the distinctive machine gun that he had. And just as long as they keep that for classified, it's gravy.
yeah. So there you go. That's my first GI Joe pick of the year.
Good choice. Um, my next choice is a carryover from last year, but I still want to see it. The 2002 land-based torpedo figure. I still want to see that. I want to see another torpedo in the classified line anyways, because I'm still saying I really need a torpedo head without the diving hood on.
Right.
So even if this guy comes with one of those as like a late addition to our already classified diving suit, I'd be fine. But yeah, give him the watch cap. Just make him look like a badass land warrior. Dude, yeah, I had to carry him
And
over my list last year.
I think one of the things that I wanted to mention about that last year, and I just forgot to mention, was the customizability of that. I
Oh,
used
that's true.
I used that particular figure for, I mean, it works well for land-based. It it has a very like flight suit feel to it, so it would work well for like a Halo version. I mean, take you could make a 2002 classified torpedo figure and make a deluxe figure with it. You could have dive gear, you could have land-based gear, and you could have parachute gear all in one thing, and
Oh, fuck yeah.
work on one buck. And I think that is the beauty of that particular figure that JD has picked, is the versatility of that particular figure. And that's one
Well,
thing I did not mention on last year's list.
and I like that because look at the infantry, like the regular military guys that we got in the Footloose. Classified Footloose is a gorgeous figure. I don't have it. I will at some point. I'll get it. But like you said, Leatherneck, those two figures, they were both, in my opinion, so well done.
Yeah.
Dude, just the idea of seeing Torpedo in also an infantry greens type of land base. Oh, dude, that would be great. And if he did come with gear for uh uh land operations, but with like a rebreather and shit. Oh, dude, I would love that.
Yeah.
And the Halo gear, that would just be perfect. That would be one of those $55 sets that I'd be like, I fucking need it.
Yep. Absolutely.
Um,
And then you want to see where I pulled that, like those ideas from, just Google image Hot Toys Navy SEALs, and you will the line of figures that these guys did 15, 20 years ago is just insane. And that's where I've pulled most of my ideas for my um seal customs, is from Hot Toys. But yeah, that is the 2002 torpedo would be the perfect buck for a deluxe set with a myriad of different types of accessories that could come with that. I
yeah, I need that. I need that figure to happen. I would really go out of my mind if we got we got a 2002 torpedo in classified in like the same year that we got Tundra Ranger Stalker, even if those were the only two figures I bought that last year for whatever reason, I would be content if those were the only two toys I got in one year. I would be like, fuck yeah, I could have adventures with just those two
Yeah.
by themselves.
Yeah.
Um,
Torpedo was my very first G.I. Joe figure, holds a very special place in my heart. I'm a fan of the Navy SEALs as a result of that. So
well,
I
and
think
how often in the Marvel comics did we see Wetsuit and Torpedo on land missions?
a lot.
And we never got a toy of it for Torpedo until 2002. And then Wetsuit we never got until the club did it years after that.
Yeah. Which
So
I
yeah, land-based Torpedo, that will probably be on my list every year until they make him. Um
Yeah, that's fair enough. My next figure, it's funny you should that you called um Repeater like a heavy one of the heavy weapons specialists for GI Joe because my next two picks are heavy weapon specialists for GI Joe. So my next pick is Salvo.
ooh,
Yeah.
ooh.
I,
Oh, that would be awesome.
yeah. I
Um
want to see a classified Salvo with all of the gear that he came with originally, even though he couldn't hold it all. The mine launcher, the rocket launcher, um he had sculpted ammo on his legs, but he didn't come with the machine gun. Give him the machine gun this time. I think this would be a fantastic update. They're doing bigger, bigger, bulkier, buffer figures. We talked about that last year. Um, like road pigs, I think would be a perfect buck for that. And then just kit it the fuck out. And
fuck yeah.
I think that would be an awesome figure.
Uh my God, I hope Hasbro listens to this episode. They won't, but it would be nice if they did. I like giving ideas like this out. I'm just saying.
I maybe they listened to it last year. We got Slice and Dice.
Oh, hey,
We got
maybe.
we got the Desert Scorpion. We got the Night Viper. We got Hit and Run.
Oh, that's
Maybe
true.
they did
That's
listen
true.
to last year's list. A lot of the shit that was on last year's list that we're like, we're never gonna get this. We either have
Or
it in hand or it's coming out.
I thought for sure if we did get those guys, it would be like Slice and Dice or Desert Scorpion. I mean, I thought we'd get them eventually. I really thought that we would have Flash first. I really thought that the Night Viper would be. I mean, it's been announced, but I really thought that some of these guys would come a little later. So,
But here we are. So I mean, maybe they are listening to it. So who knows?
um, my next choice, Hardball is another carryover. Fuck me, I love that. I love the look of the original character, but I just really want to see. I've seen a bunch of classified customs, and most of them are pretty well done.
Yeah.
But I want to see Hasbro do it. Last year I started a classified hardball, hated it. Didn't restart, but did go back to like the halfway point where I was like, maybe no, still hated it. He's one of those where I want Hasbro to do it. I'll customize theirs if I'm not happy with it, but I think I would be. Because like last year when we made these lists, I never suspected we would actually see Big Lob in the classified line. I'm glad we did. But I didn't really expect that we would. And now that he's not only announced, but I have him pre-ordered, and somebody in Australia or somebody in Asia, they have one in hand. I'm like, all right, well, let's let's see if they'll lean into the sports teams figures. And yeah, let's see hardball. Damn it.
Yeah.
Um,
Hardball is not one that I had as a kid. Never really wanted it. It was the baseball thing. Where I grew up, baseball was not a thing. It was football.
yeah,
And
you had the Colorado Rockies.
no, I didn't. No, I didn't. That didn't come along until I was out of high school.
Oh, that's right. The Colorado Rockies weren't around till like the mid '90s. I
Yeah,
forgot about
that 93, I think, was the first year for the
that.
Rockies. Wasn't
Okay.
they're an expansion team.
Oh yeah. Oh, I was in high school when the Colorado Rockies came out. I
I
think.
didn't get I got into baseball in high school, my sophomore year, junior year, when one of my buddies was into baseball, and he's like, "Here, I think you might enjoy this." He's the one that got me into Iron Man and Punisher.
Ah. Um.
So,
Ah.
the only baseball that we had available was on cable through Chicago, so I was a Cubs fan.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so baseball was not the nearest baseball team to me growing up was probably California or Kansas City. And those were, 3 states away, 2 or 3 states away each way, and it was not a thing here. So I was never really enamored with hardball, but it's one that I've definitely has grown on me as an adult. I still don't have one in my collection, but I did a custom a number of years ago. I keep saying this. I've made customs of like all of these figures, but I really like how that one turned out. And like the whole time I'm making it, I'm imagining his voice as Ben Sisko from Deep Space Nine.
Oh fuck yeah! Whoa! Oh yeah, that goes back to the holodeck baseball episode they did. Dude, I think I need to watch that episode again. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Um,
So that's in my head canon. Hardball sounds just like Ben Sisko from Deep Space Nine.
I that makes me happy.
So there you go. My next one is sorry, I've got like 3 lists pulled up here because I'm gonna save this for next year's episode.
uh,
Um, is not one of the heavy weapon guys. I do have another heavy weapon guy on my list, but the one that I don't have on my that is not heavy weapons that is on my list is recoil.
God, poor Recoil. He's a very cool looking figure, but he's one of those poor Joes that I just always forget about until I see like a picture of him. I'm like, oh yeah, there's Recoil, and I forget about him again.
Yeah,
He he had a great Real American Hero figure.
he did.
He had a he had a shit update in the figure subscription service from the club.
Yep,
Um,
I don't even own that figure.
yeah, it wasn't a great update. It was kind of a cop out. The Hasbro's never gone near him again.
No,
I I always forget about Recoil. He's a good choice though. Long range recon patrol guy. Uh, he yeah, they could make him really cool in the classified line. I
I think
just
so.
simply forget that poor bastard even exists. I
And
can't even I can't give you his file name. I can't tell you. I don't know. The poor bastard. I just forget he's there.
and I
Um,
one of my favorite customs to make is to go back and reimagine and reinvent figures like that. I have not done a recoil custom.
really?
No.
Wow. Apparently, you forgot about him too for a while.
Yeah.
Um, poor guy.
Yeah.
Nothing against the character.
No, I had the
They
figure as a
just
kid. I absolutely loved the figure. I think that was one of my first customs was to take a Sharpie to his gun and get rid of that baby blue and just turn it black.
yeah
Uh,
yeah.
but yeah, I think recoil would not be a difficult one for them to make. And I think people will be like, oh yeah, I remember that one. Oh man, yeah, I need that. I think it would be a hot seller because people forget about how cool that figure actually was.
They do. Um, now I would like to see what they would do with it for the and then they would be interesting.
Yeah, because he came with the M16 with the M203 with a bayonet on it, and then he came with that like science fiction kind of like dual layered thing, and then he
I
came.
I like that gun. It made no sense. It
Yeah,
was awkward to hold. It was goofy looking. I liked it. I don't imagine they would update that from class. I would
Bet
like
they
to see
would.
if they would though, just out
I
of
think they would.
curiosity.
He
Um,
also came with a
yeah, what the hell was that, Casey? I never, when I was a kid, I never understood it. I think as an adult, I came to realize it was some kind of like case of like Claymore mines or
yep,
something.
that's
But I
exactly
was
what it is. It's a
when I was a kid, I didn't really understand it. I was like, what the fuck?
yeah,
Um,
a case of Claymore mines
okay. Uh, now that I would like to see them put in the classified line just to
because you can
just because
put in case with individual Claymore mines.
yeah, that would be cool. That would
You,
be
you
seriously
could
cool.
you could do that pretty easily in that scale. You could do it pretty easily in 4-inch scale. They make I have Claymore mines somewhere from BBI, I think made them. Uh,
Um,
or
and
no,
well, oh yeah, and Gridiron, they did do 112 scale Claymore mines.
Marauder make
Um, so oh yeah, that's right. Marauder does. Yeah, they've got the class.
Marauder makes
Yeah, that would or give them some slightly outlandish like super high tech. They look really cool. Claymore mines that he could like. Oh, that would be interesting.
I think it's a figure that needs to be looked at. So yeah, like we said, we really hope Hasbro's listening to this because somebody's going to if Hasbro's listening to this, they're gonna be like, oh, you know what? We forgot about recoil. We should do recoil.
Wouldn't that be funny?
Yeah. So,
Um,
you know, next spring, name only reveals recoil. I'm just
I'll,
gonna say I'm gonna put it out there. If recoil gets announced next year,
like, holy shit, they did
our show.
listen.
Yeah,
Um,
so
yeah. I mean, I listen to a lot of GI Joe podcasts. I don't even hear about. I don't even hear Recoil's name. I don't even hear Recoil name dropped in those conversations very often.
oh
I don't think he ever applied. He never appeared in the Marvel comics.
he
Um,
did, but not
or
it
if
was
he
like a
did,
background character.
yeah, if he did, it was probably in one or two issues, kind
Yeah,
of like Ambush. He was in like one issue of the comic.
yeah.
Rampart was in one issue of the comic. Maybe it was like that, but
He was never a reoccurring character.
no. And he never appeared in the uh, animation except maybe in the
I think he was in the Deke.
oh maybe
I think he was.
or did Deke forget about him? I'm not sure. I
Oh,
honestly have no.
I know I've seen animation cells of him.
Okay. See, I forgot he was in the animation. Poor Recoil.
Yeah. So there you go. I think that would be a hot seller that people are snoozing on. So, all right, go with your next one.
Cesspool.
Ooh.
I'm not asking them to go down the Eco Warrior rabbit hole. Dude, I might have a tattoo of the Eco Warriors. I don't need to see them in classified. I love the originals. I don't need to see them updated. So if we even take the environmental terrorist thing out of Cesspool, I don't care. Just make him a Cobra infantry general if that's what you want to do.
Oxo Viper Commander.
Yeah, make him give us his update his suit or no, I take that back. Classify his suit because his original design was fucking awesome.
It is.
The figure was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
The colors were fucking awesome. I feel like Cesspool is one of the most standout of the 1990 to 94 era figures. He's one that he fits in. Like I've seen plenty of pictures of him with just out commanding the regular Cobra Troopers. Dude, he fits in just fine everywhere. I'd love to see what what the classified team would do with Cesspool for this line because he got the potential to be like a fan favorite. I think.
That is, yeah, and that's one that has grown on me recently too, because his parts got used for so many other figures in recent years that um they did do a Toxo Viper Commander, and I can't for a convention set, and I can't remember what the name. It's not. I don't remember the name of the figure right off the top of my
Oh
head.
no, it was the Sludge Viper Commander Repulsor.
Repulsor. That's
Um,
it. Yeah, Repulsor. And I think I have the club version of the cesspool, but the I
I
do
mean,
not
and it
have
wasn't a bad figure.
I don't
Um,
have the vintage one, and it is on my wish list on my
I
want.
do. That's one that I think I have the vintage version. I certainly had it when I was a kid. I loved the hell out of that figure when I was a kid. I'm pretty sure he's one of the club figures that I did order because I overpaid, but not to an extreme. Some years ago because he was a good update. He didn't quite capture the coolness of the vintage figure, but
Would argue that it
fair
did.
enough. Yeah,
I
it
I
was.
would argue that it did
Um,
because they
well,
used decent parts for it, and the head sculpt was phenomenal.
my biggest critique of that club figure was it didn't have the gold arm, and I really like that feature on Cesspool. But other gold arm or not, I would really like to see classified Cesspool. He would be. They could, man. He would be.
Yeah, no, I would like to see that too. Just because one of the things that I think we've seen happen recently with the classified line is that they'll pull these esoteric characters out and then they'll put some other ancillary characters in with them that we also didn't know that we needed and wanted.
Yeah,
Like Crystal Ball, it's like, okay, yeah, I don't really want a Crystal Ball figure. Oh, hey,
I wanted a crystal ball.
that's a nice Crystal Ball figure. I do actually want that. And then came along the Ghost Vipers, and I'm like, if they put out a cesspool, I'll bet the Toxo Vipers and Toxo Zombies wouldn't be too far behind that, and I would be all over that
Hey,
too.
he could even be in charge of the mole rats with the dark energon thing. He's
Yeah,
got the scar on his face. Maybe it was a dark energon issue. Um,
yeah, why not? Absolutely.
I I really I think they really knock it out of the park. Um,
That's that's boy, I had never thought of that, and that's a good pick. I would be all over that because that is definitely one of the figures that's top of my want list right now is the Real American Hero version of that because it's one of the few unique Cobra figures I don't have in my collection. Yeah, yeah, no, that's brilliant. I love it. All right, the next one on my list, um, I'm still JD has more Cobras on his list this year than I do, I think.
it is a weird juxtaposition.
Yeah. So,
Not even the last bad guy on my list either.
right. And I wanted, like, I've got to reiterate this. JD and I do not collaborate on our lists prior, but
Nope.
in the same vein as JD's Stalker version 2, I want Rock and Roll version 2.
Ooh. I would buy the shit out of it. I love the original rock and roll version too.
Yep. I don't
Uh,
have one in my collection. I wish I did. I I had for some reason I had parts of that figure as a kid, I think. I don't know that I had
what
that one, but I had
the hell?
yeah, I think I probably traded for it. So he didn't come
Uh,
with all of his gear. Um or I got it like at a yard sale or something like that. So he mine didn't have all the
uh,
gear with
that
him.
makes sense.
Um
So you had rock and roll, but you had none of his.
no, I had his guns, but that was about it.
Uh,
I didn't have the belt. I don't think I had the backpack and I didn't have his like lever action rifle. But I that figure has a phenomenal sculpt to it. Um, it was a fantastic reimagination of rock and roll. I didn't have rock and roll as a the original rock and roll as a kid. I came in a little later than that, so I started in 83, so I missed all the 82 figures. So I didn't have any of those. Didn't have a rock and roll. So rock and roll version 2 was my first rock and roll. And I love that version of that figure. Um, I would love to see a classified version of that. And they could do pretty much a straight homage to the original one. And I think it would be beautiful.
dude. If as long as they give him the hat with the ammo belt around the hat that you could put around the hat, dude, I'd be all over it. I love rock and roll. You know, anybody who's listening to the show knows I have a long history with rock and roll. The favorite, the first Joe figure I ever got because I had the original. But I remember finding the 1989 version in a store and being so excited because I'm like, oh, rock and roll's back in the line. And then somewhere around the same time, there was an issue of the Marvel G.I. Joe comic where rock and roll was on the with his two handheld dual Gatling guns that the toy came with. And I just distinctly remember this cover and just saying, this design even looks great in the art. Because I
I
loved
think
when we
that
would
was
get
Mike Zeck
updates.
art too.
The what's that?
I think that was Mike Zeck art too.
Yeah, I think it was. Mike Zeck and yeah, I think at the yeah, he was still on the book. At some point, Mark Bright, one of my favorite comic book artists, there was an issue or two that he drew. So it was like that. It was like that class that it was like the 1989 redesign of Rock, like worked in the art. It worked in the Deke cartoon. They even used him in the Deke cartoon almost properly. It was pretty impressive. And they always, he's a consistently high regarded vintage figure too. He's another one that I've never heard any bitching about Rock and Roll version 2. I've had people complain about the pegs on his leg. You know, they broke because of the 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 what do you call it? The
The lever
shotgun he came with. Yeah,
lever.
that was I love that weapon when I was a kid too. Even though I didn't go on his leg either because well the pegs broke, but at least they broke in the gun. So whatever. But I love that rifle. Like it was just great. Nobody else in the line had a rifle like that.
No.
And dude, if they, I'd love to see a classified rock and roll version 2.
Yeah. And I like I said at the beginning of this episode, like so many of these figures that we would like to have put on our list, but just didn't think that Hasbro had it in them to make it, has that perception has changed within, I think, even the last year, certainly the last 2 years, that they really, when they put their minds to it, they can really knock something out of the park. And that opens up a whole different world for figures that already exist in the Real American Hero line that could transition very well over to the classified line, and this is one of them.
Yeah, definitely. Um, my next to last pick, he's a carryover from last year. It's Venomous Maximus. I'm I'm not sure that I'd be able to get a hold of him because he'd be some sort of obscure exclusive, I'm pretty sure. But I'd still love to see it happen. Um, I don't know at any given time how deep into the lines are going to go. So he might kind of be a wish list thing for a long time, but I just really want to see what they do with it and be all brutish and kind of if they're gonna bring crazy characters into the line and give us crazy troopers for those things, then imagine dude, he's another one that could command any of these branches of
Yeah.
I think.
Well, and I think that would be an interesting one where they could do the whole Ghost Viper route and just have venomized troopers where it's the Ghost Viper, mole rat type of thing where it's an original character that is a trooper class for this particular leader. I think,
Ooh, that would be cool.
yeah, just
Um,
venomized troopers. And that was one of the things that I really liked about that particular line of GI Joes. The figures weren't the best, but I absolutely loved the fact that they were using like animal splicing animal DNA into their trooper classes to give them these traits. Take that a step further and make venomized troopers to go with venomous Maximus, and I think you could do some really fucking amazing stuff.
Look at what they. Uh, I bring this guy up once again. These dire wolf parts that were included with the Ghost Viper. Um, I I just I want to see them go nuts with some of these obscure
Yeah.
early aughts figures, because a lot of times when you think about it, some of the people collecting classified now are younger than us, and they came up in a time when some of that new sculpt stuff, that was their childhood stuff.
Yeah.
And so they're nostalgic for that, and I want to see some of, because I remember distinctly about that time. Yeah, like you said, some of the figures weren't the best. There was a lot of creative energy being
Yes.
pumped into the GI Joe line then, and I see a lot of that same creative excitement um and uh the constant, like the artistic inspiration that they're getting and putting out into
Yes.
this line. I want to see some of that applied to some later figures. And I think Venomous Man, he might be a cool place to start.
Yeah.
Some V troops, maybe Neo Vipers. I don't know. That just stuff from that era. People are nostalgic for it now, and I want to see some of that I want to see it, give it a new life, because most of those toys you can go back and buy them on the secondary and they don't cost much.
No.
If they start classifying some of that shit, that'll drive some of the secondary market prices up on
Yeah.
stuff that right now nobody cares that much
Yeah.
about.
It's funny you should say that because it was not last year, probably the year before that I was going back and buying a lot of those figures, like the Neo Viper and the Sand Viper. And
Yeah, that was a lot of Neo Vipers you had to buy that year, but at least they weren't crazy expensive.
no, I was
Um,
getting $5, $6 a piece, you know,
um,
because they're not popular figures. There's so many variations of them. And yeah, it's like when you look into what the actual concept of the figure is, it's like, okay, you know what? This is actually a pretty good idea. It was just put out in a time where they were not putting out good figures in general.
yeah, I feel like, and Torpedo, we should mention, is that same era. These are the basic things that I would like to see them bring in first, Venomous Maximus and Torpedo, but I think they could do a lot of cool shit with that. And I feel like that's like an untapped vein
Yeah.
for ideas to carry forward with. I
You know,
just
you know what I
want
think we need to do um, is we need to do another top 10 list of classified figures we want to see, and it cannot be any figure pre 1993.
to. Ooh. All right, so folks, check back for that here real soon, because boy, I'm not gonna let that idea die on the vine.
Yeah.
That
So,
has to happen.
yeah.
Fuck yeah.
So, top 10 classified figures we'd like to see post Real American Hero line.
I like it. Um,
All right. So,
who's your last? Who's last on your list?
well, it can't be last on my list. You've got to have another one because I've got two more.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Okay.
next on my
I
list,
changed one.
yeah. So next on my list is one that JD mentioned that was kind of an just there, but people tend to forget about him, and that's Ambush.
Ooh, dude, I love Ambush. He's one of my favorite characters from 1990. He's one of my favorite figures from 1990. I made a classified custom of him a couple years ago, because he's
Yeah.
just one of those characters that came out in a year where there was a whole lot of new stuff being released, but he's one that sticks out in people's minds, I feel like, and they could do some really cool looking shit with him.
I
Imagine.
I think one of my first GI Joe customs, I used Ambush as the buck. I think
I
one of
think I
the
remember that way
the
back.
yeah, it would have been my like the very first GI Joe custom that I put up on like joecustoms.com.
Yeah,
I think
folks,
it was
we're talking circa 2006 or something,
prior to
something
that.
thereabouts.
Prior to that, it was
Um,
2004.
yeah, but it was right around there. There was, cause that's when we first became friends, and you've you is one of those where I've customized for a lot longer than Brian has, but I I've never made strides like he does because I'm constantly impressed by all the shit that he makes, and I'm just kind of like I sometimes I'm like my work pales in comparison, but I'm okay with that. I'm really okay with that. And yeah, I think I do remember that ambush custom because you put it in like realistic like woodland camo, and
Yeah,
you kind of gave a new dimension to that to that figure.
it came with really interesting gear. He had a decent weapon. He had the like lean-to camo netting tent, which was super cool. I think that could be an updated piece of equipment that there's no telling what that creative team could come up with for that. I mean, it could be dual purpose. It could be a tent. It could be something that you could take off of the frame and then put on the figure as a ghillie suit. Um, so I think there's a lot of potential for that. Also, if you make a ambush figure, then you have to make low light version 2, and then you have to do a Dino Hunter set.
Fuck yeah, I like I like what this man is saying. Yes, they really do have to do. Yeah, they really do have to do that later version of low light, and they really do have to do a repaint of ambush for me. Thank, please, and thank you. Um, that would be fucking awesome.
Can you imagine
Um,
a Dino Hunters HasLab set? Comes with the T-Rex, comes with the vehicle and two figures, and then whatever.
it would be $450, and I would fucking buy it.
I would too.
It would be the one super expensive Haslet. I would be like, no, I need it.
Yeah.
I need it.
So just throwing that out there to the universe. Dino Hunters HasLab in classified scale or vintage scale. I mean, hell, that would be. I would love to see
I'd buy the shit out of that too.
O-ring
Um,
or new sculpt. Either one, don't care. I would buy either O-ring or new sculpt or classified. Any of those three scales, I would throw down for a Dino Hunter set.
fuck yeah, this is a phenomenal idea. Put it. Let's put it out in the universe, and maybe you can manifest it. Um,
I mean, this is the point where it's why I wish I had a 3D printer because I've seen people 3D print that particular vehicle. I'm just sure those files exist,
oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
and it you can print it in any color you want, and even if you didn't, you can paint it. It would not be difficult to paint, and then yeah, just make those particular figures, and then go to Target and get the whatever Jurassic World T-Rex is available at the time, and probably would work because I mean some of those are huge fucking figures.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. There's one. I was in Target today. There were three different Tyrannosauruses in that section. One of them was massive. It was like a jumbo figure. One of them was a little smaller. It was like a mid range, and then one of them was like uh was like a smaller one that was included in like multi pack. But like the big one, I'm like, yeah, that could eat a classified figure. I think. Um,
Yeah, so there you go. So you have to have one more figure on your list because I have one more figure on my list.
no, I do. Yeah, I do. I left it off the list because I was swapping my list. Thrasher.
Yeah. I'm surprised
Thrasher
he
is
hasn't
one
been
of
on
my
any of
favorite dreadnoughts.
yeah, why
That
has he not been on any of your lists previously?
I think it's because until they really started to get into the dreadnoughts, he wasn't one I was particularly worried about.
Yeah.
And up until this year, like I had Road Pig last year, and I had Zorana, and we finally got Xandar this year. But I I figured that I would get the Dreadnoks eventually, like the rest of the Dreadnoks eventually, but I didn't expect it to be anytime in the near future. But honestly, a few months ago when I found that deal on Buzzer at the convention, then I went and I bought Ripper, and then I bought Monkey Wrench, and then I found a deal on Torch, and so I've got most of the Dreadnoks now, and I'm so consistently happy with all of the Dreadnoks in the classified line. On some of mine, I may have changed the detail or two, but that's what I do with my stuff. But dude, even Buzzer, who is kind of the weakest of them, even he's a good figure. The classified line has done a lot of justice to some of these. Like you can tell that the Dreadnoks have a lot of fans within Hasbro because they're really and so now Thrasher's on my list because they he just part of it is in my own head canon. He's part of Cobra too, so like he's on their payroll. He's in charge of their motor stuff when he's not out with the Dreadnoks. So I'm actually kind of surprised I never brought him up before either. But now that I have most of the Dreadnoks, and they're only missing a couple of them now from the original line, I keep seeing things about we would buy a like a HasLab Thunder machine, and maybe they'll do that, maybe they will, I don't know, but man, they whether they do the Thunder machine or not, I'd love it because I didn't own one until Soundwave last year or the
Yeah.
year before, but
Same.
I want to see Thrasher now in the line. Um, so yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's a glaring oversight, quite honestly. And with some of the vehicle drivers having come out as separate figures without a vehicle to support them, it has to it has to make me wonder if they do have the Thunder Machine in the pipeline for a HasLab at some point in time, or if it's just going to be like Copperhead and he's you we're gonna get to him. He's coming. It's just a matter of time because I don't see them not finishing off this line. I was gonna say my prediction is that we will see Zanzibar and the air skiff at least name dropped next year or the year after.
I hope so. I want to see what they would do with Zanzibar's air skiff because it was a it was a neat idea in the original line, but it was kind of a flimsy. It didn't really had a few parts that came on easily lost parts, but it wasn't very impressive.
I
When you
had
looked at it in the
I
comic, it was cool.
yeah. Well, that's
Um,
one of the ones that Todd McFarlane did the art for that particular.
yeah, well, yeah, that's true. Yeah. So it looked really cool. The toy had a great idea. I think they could if they gave it the same kind of attention that they gave to like the ferret
Yeah.
and the claw. I mean, I don't own a claw, but I'm impressed by the claw toy. Dude, if they put that kind of effort into the air skiff, dude, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
And I already know that they'll knock it out of the park with
Yeah.
Zanzibar because, like I said, the least of the dreadnoughts they put out so far is Buzzer, but he's kind of the least of the original dreadnoughts too, in my opinion, design wise and looks wise. But Zanzibar, I know they'll kick ass, and if they could sooner rather than later give us Thrasher and Zanzibar,
Yeah.
more power to you. I'd love to see
So we'll see where what my how because I made some pretty interesting
it.
predictions last year, and so I'm now I've I'm all full of that, and I want to like throw predictions out and see how close I am next year when we do this again next year. So, my last figure on the list is one that I would like to see them. So we've talked about this a couple of different times on whether we want, and people have given us shit about it. It's like, do you want to see an homage to the original, or do you want to see an update to that particular figure?
It
Pick one.
depends.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and that's it. It depends on the figure, it depends on the character, it depends on the figure that exists of it already. It depends on my mood of the day. It depends on whether what the astrological sign is, if Venus is in Uranus, whatever.
Sometimes have I eaten? Have I not eaten yet? That could influence it too. I don't know.
Exactly.
There's some characters that you want to see classic, like, and some characters you want to see crazy new updates for. And
So,
some characters that crazy new updates really wouldn't make a lot of sense.
right.
Like what if they did a second version of uh, Crystal Ball in the classified line, but we're gonna make him one of the. We're gonna put a Cobra uniform on. What the fuck? That would be kind of a weird reimagining. That would be
So,
odd.
so
But
my last figure, I want to see the crazy update of the incinerator. Heavily armored, flame weapon, the
beautiful.
the like rubber band launching fire thing. I want to see a
I,
deluxe incinerator crazy update. Not a homage to the original, because the original figure, while it is a cool figure, the soft sculpt of the uniform doesn't quite work for me.
it's a very strange figure.
It is.
It had a
It is.
very cool helmet
Yeah.
that there's no way that a human head is fitting in there. Normally, I don't complain about that with the Joe line. I don't care about that. But that one was particularly narrow. But if they could just what they did with like Darklon's head sculpt, they could just refine it just a bit and then go hog wild with the rest of the figure.
Yeah.
I never considered a classified incinerator before, but dude,
Yeah.
I can't tell you how badly I want to see that now.
Right.
That's now an honorary mention that didn't exist before on my list. Um,
There you
I
go.
would love that.
Yeah. I think
Dude,
they could do instead of like the soft, like I'm guessing it's supposed to be like a Nomex suit, but
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I would like to see more of I'd like to see the armored vibe of the helmet carried throughout the entire figure.
Ooh, yeah.
Uh
Like a like like a heavy assault
yeah.
version of what they did. So yeah, because you're right. It was supposed to be kind of, but yeah, make him a little more bulky, a little more deep, a little more. You know what? Even if they wanted to go like more sci-fi with it, dude, I think they could get away with that.
So
Um,
imagine using like if I was going to do this in 4-inch scale, the figure that I have in mind for this is one of the hammer drones.
oh, dude, that would be really cool. I would like, yeah, that would be really.
Imagine a hammer drone with an incinerator style head, flame weapons, and then yeah, some sort of gimmicky launcher.
And you know what? It's one of the few figures in the vintage line that come with the siege weapon, and I love siege weapons. So you know what? Give us a much larger catapult. Turn it into a fireball shooting trebuchet. I don't give a shit. I want to see a
It can put
deluxe.
out as long as it can put out somebody's eye. Now we're talking.
Fuck yeah! Yeah. As long as it shoots from one end, both ends at the same. I don't make it. You know what? Uh make it a modular thing that you have to put apart, and then that would be. I would love to see that. I
Or
want
do
to see.
something similar to what they did with scrap iron and have it on treads. So it's
Ooh, that would be cool. Um, Oh yeah, so it could like it could move itself to where it needs to be, and ooh, that would be really and give it some sort of a uh storage thing for the ammo with it, and like make it a playset in. Dude, that would be great. That would be awesome. I
So,
would like to see them do that.
so there you go. That is my list.
Good
So
choice.
just to recap real quick, JD's list was, well, JD, I didn't. Oh, wait, I have one more on my list. How do I have one more on my list? Do you have one more?
No, but I can easily add another one.
Add another one because I have one more on my list.
What the hell?
I don't know. Did I count wrong? I don't know.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time I've counted wrong on something and caused a calamity. Um,
No, you have to have another one because that was my ninth figure.
Weird. Okay, well,
JD can't count.
in that case, uh, you know what? Give us uh, just for shits and giggles. What if we saw uh another Iron Grenadier? But what if they actually?
How about a Pursuit of Cobra Iron Grenadier in classified scale?
Oh my God! Yeah. Did you know what? I expect they're going to do some variations on the Iron Grenadiers in this line, but you mean like the heavy armored version, right? With those gigantic the shin armor. There was so much straight out of what was that video game? Gears of War. That's exactly what that Iron Grenadier reminded. It was the Gears of War Iron Grenadier, and that would be really cool in the classified. I like that idea.
There you go.
Um, oh, I really like that idea. Because I was gonna go for one of the goofier later releases of the Iron Grenadiers from the vintage line that I don't really like, just because I'd like to see it classified. But no, now I really just want to see a super kitted out big badass, like a like
And
a
I want to
like
see it. I, my my like biggest want from that era is to see that figure in Iron Grenadier colors.
oh yeah
Think
yeah
I did a custom of that. I'm not 100% sure. I have to look. I don't I was gonna do a custom of that. I don't know if I ever actually did. I have to look now.
there.
Because I
uh,
was going to, but I don't know that I did. So I want to see classified scale, Pursuit of Cobra, Iron Grenadier in Iron Grenadier colors, the original black, gold, and red.
um
That's JD's idea. I mean, that's on his list, but because I do have one more on my list, and it is my
yeah, no, I'm the more I picture it, the more I just think um they could uh yeah, I was thinking even if they wanted to give us like alternate heads to uh like so it wasn't just an Iron Grenadier, but
yeah.
like a like a like a more heavily armored, like
Yes.
more medieval sort of, but it's got like that badass Iron Grenadier face. That would be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Now oh, I'm I'm
And
excited,
so
and we're still waiting on Iron Grenadier Destro, by the way. What the hell? But anyways,
Hasbro, if you're
yeah,
listening, we are available to help, you know,
consult. I
yeah,
mean,
con for we come cheap. Just
we do. You know what? It doesn't take much, really. Just consult with me, and I'll be like, all right, I die happy now.
yeah,
Um,
just give me one of the figures and we're good.
yeah. Um, so who is your last? Who is your last choice?
All right, last figure on my list is Crimson Guard Immortal.
Ooh,
The
ooh.
I absolutely love that figure as a kid. It seemed like it was half complete because it didn't come with a decent backpack. I think I ended up giving him the backpack from my Crimson Guard, and it worked really well. Um, but the legs seemed like they needed more armor compared to like the torso and the head, which was very heavily armored. I'd like
It
to see a not quite an homage, and they didn't really they missed that one on the club figure too, I think, is they didn't use
it
armor.
was one of their better weird Frankenstein updates. I
Yeah,
will I will give them that. They achieved
the
the
vibe.
homage part, and it was
Yeah,
a decent use of parts.
yeah,
But take that idea and refine it a little bit,
yeah,
because you know what, the original figures, my biggest issue with them when I was a kid was their weapons were weird. They looked really cool
yeah.
in the card art, but they weren't great in the figures' hands. But uh give it like an infantry weapon too,
Yeah.
and then I'd like, as long as that's not their only weapon. I think that's what I'm that would be really good. Like a man.
We've got the very nice Crimson Guard figure. They did one in the retro line. They did the sort of kind of the Shadow Crimson Guard that came
Oh
with the
yeah, the
with Falcon
Twilight Guard or whatever they
Twilight
called it.
Guard.
Yeah.
And then they have done a name only reveal for the Shadow Guard. And then they're doing the female Crimson Guard.
Oh yeah. So yeah, you know what? Make the immortal version. Give
Yeah.
us the. That's a good idea. Huh. I wonder what they would do with it. Like, I wonder if they would update the vintage kind of and just improve on it,
I think
or
that's
if they
one
would
that could go
take some
either way.
artistic liberties with it. I don't know.
I think
Weird.
that's one that could go well either way, trying to keep it as close to the original as possible or updating it in a new, classify, like you said, classify it.
I I'd be curious to see it done either way. Um yeah, like it was a great figure in the vintage line that I don't think got a lot of play because they were in the Deke cartoon, but they were just kind of more generic troopers. They didn't, the fact that they were Crimson Guard had no impact at all because the rest of the Crimson Guard weren't in the Deke series, and they consequently got overlooked in general, I think. But yeah, that would be cool if they're kind of one of those troop classes I don't think of very often because
Yeah,
it came out in my favorite year of the toy line, but there were so many amazing toys that year that that's one I guess like Recoil, I just kind of forget about
yeah.
sometimes. I like that choice
There
though.
you go. So that is our lists for 2025. And yeah, I think with how much how well this line is doing, how much product they're putting out, how much they're announcing, I I, I don't see any reason that we don't do this episode next year and see.
And maybe next year we'll count properly.
Yeah,
It was probably on me because all these years later, and I still have issues doing math for the time zones when we're scheduling guests. And it's a long, there's a time joke in there, joke about how bad I am with time zones. So, yeah, I probably, you know what? I didn't number my list. Probably should have.
probably should have. So there you go. I'm like, you have to have more on your list because I counted mine twice to make sure I had 10. Because I had to I there was a couple other figures that I wanted to put on there, and I'm like, nah, it's 10. I'll have to save that one for something else. But if you can count to 10 again, I totally think that we need to do a post 93 uh our top 10 picks for classified figures post
Yes.
93.
You know what? next week we need to do that episode. We have to. I want to have a big nerdy discussion about some of the really truly forgotten years of GI Joe merchandise.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. That's a good idea. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So let's do that. And plus, I mean, like I said, we've got a lot of year-end content. We're gonna do another episode tomorrow. We've got somebody that's got a Kickstarter that they're trying to get that has funded for a comic book. We're gonna have the artist, the creator on the show to for him to talk about it. We have our top 10 acquisitions of the year list coming. Um, and I am going to do my customs year in review episode that I always do. And this was my biggest year for customizing ever. So it'll be a big show. So we've got a lot of stuff
Sweet.
coming out.
Um, and oh, there's a uh, we need to do an episode with a guest who's into 3D printing now, but we'll talk about that off air. But yeah, everybody, thanks for listening to our wish list here. I hope everybody got a good laugh out of the fact that JD doesn't.
Hey,
I made a joke earlier today about how bad we are with show prep, and God damn it, boy did I prove that once again.
yeah, yeah, because JD's like, we don't do show prep, and I'm like, yeah, who does show prep? And then I'm putting together. I watched the last year's episode to put all the lists together. And I'm like, fuck me, I'm doing show prep. What the hell? So yeah, you know, so based on our lists, our previous lists, and what you like, what are your top 10 figures that you'd like to see in the classified series going forward? Put those in the comments below. As always, please do that fun social media stuff. Like, share, subscribe, comment below. And as always, thanks for watching.
Thank you, everybody. Sincere thank you. Um,
And stay tuned. We've got, like I said, we've got
we
uh,
have content planned
we do.
or show prep, maybe.
We have got 3 shows already planned. So stay tuned for those, and we'll see you on the next one.